So here's the starting grid for the final race of the championship. John McIntyre off the pole, the new championship leader, alongside Andy Booth. Eddie Bell from grid 3, Wade Henshaw from 4.
Then follow on to Andrew Anderson and then Angus Fogg, one of the contenders for the championship. Matt Lockwood, and the other man contention for the championship, Craig Baird.
Yeah, more on Craig Baird after that big hit in the previous race. Scott McLaughlin and Nick Ross complete row number 5. John Penny lines up alongside a quiet Kane Scott this weekend in the Fujitsu Ford.
Then roll on to Timmy Edgell and Andy Knight, 2 very hard charges. Another hard charger, Paul Manuel. Next door to him, of course, is David Hopper.
Then we go back to row number 9, John Hepburn alongside Dean Perkins. Then it's Simon Richards and Christina Orr West. And completing the lineup for race number 3, Hayden McKenzie, Gene Rollinson and Martin Short. I believe Martin Short will not take this race start due to the damage in race number 2. This championship is still up for grabs. John McIntyre in the box seat off the pole, but look who's to his outside. It's Andy Booth.
Yeah, look for Wade Henshaw there, guy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, turn 1. If they can get through turn 1, then look for turn 2, because that's where the action's going to happen. The championship can actually unfold right there.
We are away. John McIntyre on board the start of race 3 for the NZV8. It's the final race of the championship. Oh, Booth and Henshaw making contact for 2nd and 3rd. Fogg with a flyer to the outside of Henshaw.
Right around the outside, of course, it's a dry line at this part, so you can afford to do that. It's going to be a drag race. Wade Henshaw, he does not care about Angus Fogg's championship aspirations. He just wants to get in and mix it on these guys. Now, these guys are pioneers. Here we go.
Here goes the guys out of pit lane. Scott McLaughlin is one of those as well in the super cheap Holden. Fogg gets back to 3rd. I think Henshaw might have moved over for him, because for the majority of that run up to the straight to 2, Henshaw was actually in front of the LG Ford.
So here we go. Where we go, the tree, or where all the trees are, the tree lines, that's the dry part. Of course, the open part where we are now, this is wet. So where is the first guy on wet, who we believe in on wet tyres? It's going to be Craig Baird. He is, God, he's already up to 14th place. So this is so tender, these guys. They're pioneers at this stage. Of course, there's the debris flag we'll see on the left-hand side. It's indicating that the track has some kind of slippery material on it, whether it be oil, antifreeze, who cares? Either way, the flag is there. Craig Baird, he's paid in road so far. Of course, Paul Manuel behind. Oh, there you go. Eddie Bell off, Wade Henshaw off, Andrew Anderson.
Yeah, Andy Booth was the first one, got sideways off that curve with the left rear. Matt Lockwood goes around into number 3 Holden, but manages to avoid getting hit by anyone.
Yeah. Timmy Edgell was the next guy that actually would have come around there and seen Matt Lockwood go sideways, so here we think we wasn't involved in that. But
yeah, Matt's unsighted, trying to get back around and right the number 3, Henshaw and Bell.
There we go, you see that debris flag again, as James was alluding to. The teams have been cautioned, it's very slippery here through an earlier incident, one of the sporting races.
So Angus Fogg chasing down Andy Booth. John McIntyre is your race leader, looking to take control and win his 3rd NZV8 championship. He has 2 to his name. So does Andy Booth, Kane Scott. There's Angus Fogg trying to get a run here on Booth. Look how much drier it is on the front part of the track as Fogg gets a whole heap of curb on the apex at turn 1, but he should have a pretty good exit run here on Booth. Booth's trying to crowd him down into the wall.
Yeah, Booth, he can't move again. If he starts going to the right of the screen, as we see, he'll get in a bit of trouble for a double move. So he doesn't. He's making Angus work, certainly for 2nd place.
So Angus Fogg needs to get ahead of John McIntyre and have McIntyre probably finish 3rd, because there's 15 points difference between 1st and 3rd, and Fogg's got to try and make up 11 points, but it's the other way. Here's the peak antifreeze replay off the start underneath the Hamilton Bridge, and there's the contact between Henshaw and Booth.
Henshaw's just right in the back of Booth. I don't know why you need to do that, especially at the start. If you just tuned in, you want to know where the rest of the field are. If you look to the left right now, you'll see them all in pit lane.
Yeah, they're all stacked up in pit lane waiting for these guys to get through. So that was a big moment there for Andy Booth, and another moment here off the curbs.
Just a graphic demonstration of what happens when you're putting the power down, you hit those shiny curbs at the same time.
That's through turn 5. Matt Lockwood, however, wasn't quite as lucky, and he did go around. And the number 3 Holden. Fogg to the inside of Andy Booth, through to 2nd.
Now, we know there's a lot of room on the outside here, so you can afford to lose, going a bit fast and run wide. Booth's going to challenge him all the way through.
Yeah,
now, if he can stay there, he's going to get the decision back. Jamie, sorry, mate. Now, if Angus can stay there, he's going to be in the upper hand again, coming through 9, which he can't.
Booth did a good job there. He actually did give Angus a little bit of racing room. So Andy Booth proving to be the spoiler here at the moment, but he's looking to try and conserve that 4th place finish overall in the championship. Bell's broken free from Wade Henshaw. Andy Knight. Now Andy Knight started from position 14. Angus Fogg looks up the He gathers it back up. He didn't go completely around.
No, look, he's got nothing to lose at this stage. He's 11 points back in the championship. So he has to throw everything at this, including the kitchen sink. Is exactly what we saw.
Well, he's lost a spot to Eddie Bell, so that's dropped him back to the 4th position. Now, that was a big save because that was as far around as you could probably go without literally spinning the car. Here's the peak antifreeze replay. Just locks up the rears.
Well, actually, Boothie went and locked the rears first, locked the fronts, and Angus thought, well, he's probably going to go wide here. Boothie managed to regather it. And, of course, Angus had already outbraked himself to that point. So you're right in what you say. He gathered pretty good and carried on. But this man here, when he looks in the rear vision mirror and sees these guys scrapping, he's going to think to himself, thanks, guys, just making it that much easier for me.
Well, Scott McLaughlin is absolutely charging forward in the super cheap hold, and he was one of those cars to start out of pit lane. He is up into the 7th position, and he's just set the fastest time to the first sector on this lap. And Craig Baird also, and he's not too far behind. Just a couple of positions, so Craig Baird on a charge.
Guys on wet tyres at the moment are almost a second and a half quicker than the guys on slicks. Now, we're only lap 3 of 16. When we get to probably lap 10 when the circuit dries, those fortunes are going to be reversed. Can't ever think the guys that are going to persevere on slick tyres are going to be the big benefactors come the second half of this race.
And you can see the difference with the cars on slicks. They're not pumping out anywhere near as much water as those guys that are on the treaded.
No, here's Eddie Bell. Actually, Eddie Bell's got in front of Andy Booth as well. So
another position change. Eddie Bell through to the 2nd position. That's where he finished in race number 2. Great end of the championship. The rest of it hasn't gone to plan as Angus Fogg launches up the inside of Andy Booth.
We've seen this before. Eddie Bell, if you're not careful, mate, you're going to get probably kiss from Angus, but these two guys are so tied up in their own battle that Eddie's managed to pull a couple of car lengths.
Fogg back to 3rd. So again, he needs to be ahead of John McIntyre to have any chance of trying to win this championship, and McIntyre's got good pace.
So there you go. Fastest man of the race so far, Craig Baird, currently 3rd in the championship with all the work to do.
John McIntyre leads from Eddie Bell with Angus Fogg in 3rd at the quarter distance, race 3 for the NZV8s. Well, Mark, these guys on wet tyres are really making some progress. Scott McLaughlin and Craig Baird are the 2 fastest drivers on track, and in saying that, John McIntyre's just set the fastest split to sector 1 on this lap.
Yeah, you're right, and we expect to see that, Jamie. Oh, Andy Knight, learned nothing from the early part of the weekend, still hitting the curves hard.
He's just damaged the right front splitter.
Yeah, well, that's not going to work in his favour, because may get a mechanical black flag. Angus Fogg running wide again, so he does all the hard work.
Andy Knight was in the 5th position.
Sorry, going back to what you're saying, we expect the guys on slicks to be fastest around sector 1 because that's where it's driest. McLaughlin. Henshaw probably didn't see him, got out of his way, which is a smart thing to do.
Scott McLaughlin is flying, remembering that Scotty won the last race in Taupo in the Super Cheap Honda, the youngest ever race winner in NZV8.
Sorry, mate, there is no love lost between Wade Henshaw and Craig Baird. We know that from early rounds of the championship. Craig Baird's on wets, Wade Henshaw's on dry, so what's he going to do here? Is he going to back himself? No.
Andy Knight's going to lose that front splitter if he's not careful. He's going to get jammed underneath the front of that race car. He's going to have to go into the pits.
No, he's not. No,
he's going to continue on.
Okay, Craig Baird. Now, he's going to go into the part of the track now with the slick tyre, which Wade Henshaw's on. It's going to work for him. Andy Knight is going to end up in the wall if he's not careful.
He locks up the
fronts. There you go.
And just that was lucky for Craig Baird.
He would have had a resemblance of race 2 when young Martin Short T-boned him in a very similar place.
Martin Short, too much damage sustained in that clash. Andy Booth and Angus Fogg, and they both got back ahead of Eddie Bell. So John McIntyre with a 6.4 second lead, and again McIntyre quickest to the first sector split on lap number 6. Looking at the lap times, pick up the likes of Scott McLaughlin. His last lap was a 1:43.3. McIntyre doing 1:43.2s. Here's the peak antifreeze replay. Andy Knight's getting that second tyre bundle through turn number 4 and dislodging another front splitter. Actually, not for the first time this weekend.
One match dropped right off the timing monitor here. Into last place is Craig Baird, but now this is a replay of an earlier incident with Andy Knight, of course. Some flames starting to pump out of that, so...
Knight breaks the splitter off. He just noses across the front of Craig Baird, but yeah, you're right, Craig Baird has disappeared down the timing charts. This is what happens. Angus Fogg runs wide.
Now, somewhere Eddie Bauer has lost a lot of time because he was ahead of that gaggle of cars. Now he's actually behind them, so here we go.
And Scott McLaughlin is right with Angus Fogg and Andy Booth. So McLaughlin up into the 4th position, having started out of pit lane inside 6 laps.
Haven't we seen this before, actually? This is a replay.
Craig Baird is definitely still out there, Mark. He's on screen at about the 6th position,
yes,
but he has disappeared off the timing monitors. So.
Right, now this battle continues here with Andy Booth. Of course, this is probably for round honours for 2nd place, because Johnny McIntyre at the moment has the championship wrapped up.
McIntyre's just set the fastest lap of the race at 1:42.2.